Hey, good morning, everyone. This is Andy Hall. You're watching the Disappointed Cat Morning Show, or is it the Disappointed Morning Cat Show? I don't know. It could be any kind of word salad. Let's slide into the show with something funny.
I want universal health care, and I think workers should own the means of production. I'm racist. Wow, what is a person to do? Both of these things are really radical, and I don't want to associate myself with either party because they sound like the same thing to me. I'm a very smart person.
I was frozen for a minute in the backstage, and I don't know what was going on. So yeah, if there was one fallacy, one cognitive fallacy that is going to doom the Republic, the United States of America, it would be the middle ground fallacy right there. Yeah, I have discovered that this middle ground fallacy, the middle of the road fallacy, it is what's gonna do us all in, here in the States at least, or in terms of our representative form of government. Say hello to everyone in the chats. Good morning, Jess M. John Hudson, how you doing? Glad to see you. Talking about male and female threads. I think I understand kind of sort of what that means. Good morning, Rainbug. Simply Secular from the West Coast. Tobin Templeman. Everyone else who is hanging out. This is it. This is the show. We're going to be talking about all kinds of things. Did you see a Brazilian flag on the thumbnail with the cap? Yeah, we're going to be talking about Brazil today. We're actually going to be talking about a whole bunch of different places than America, and that might be nice. We got some good news coming out of Mexico and Israel. And then we're going to have a couple of videos, and then there's this crazy evangelical COVID minister. And yeah, that's in the second half of the show. That's going to be some crazy stuff. Crazy morning. This is the question I wanted to ask all of you. Have you ever had to come out of the closet? As many of you know, I just came in contact with my birth family because I'm adopted. And I've been easing into letting them know what a big liberal atheist I am. And that's something you just don't want to talk about on the phone. Or maybe you do. I don't know. It all matters what your style is. For me, I felt like I could not, at the first, second, or even third time we were talking, say that, hey, by the way, this is the stuff that I do, that I run this blog that's somewhat popular, and then I run this YouTube channel, which is not even close as popular. I like doing it. And I do all this other stuff too. And I didn't feel comfortable about doing that on the first, second, even third time we talked. My sister and I, person who I've never seen. I just know that we are blood related. Thank you, 23andMe, by the way. I discovered that not talking about what I do in this space on YouTube, me not talking about the blog, me not talking about who I am, at my core, that was getting in the way of the conversations. That was getting in the way because we'd be having, we were taught. It's like, what are you doing today, Andy? It's like, well, I'm just hanging around the house and stuff. And she knows I don't work. She knows I'm not working right now. And so she was wondering what I was doing with all my time. And finally, I just, and to tell you the truth, coming out, right, as an advocate and an atheist, I just did it in like the most awkward way possible because that's what I do. I do things in the most horribly awkward way. And I did it over text, to tell you the truth, because I just hit my effort point. I hit my tipping point. And this was my text. I think we're at a point in our brother-sister relationship that I can tell you I'm a big godless liberal and have a big godless comedy blog and a small godless YouTube channel. And she was pretty cool with that. But that was my awkward coming out via text of all things, right? Was that the most awkward time I came out? I don't know. It's been a while since I've had to come out to anyone. Oh, simply secular. Fortunately, the people around me at church recognized that I was an apostate before I did. I was just asking questions. You're not the first person who's told me that. Simply Secular. I've heard other people say that people around them realized that they weren't part of the team, so to speak, before they did. Oh, David Paul. Right. Happy Trump is not going to be re-inaugurated today. Yeah, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that. Yeah, I just don't care anymore, Jess M says. If who I am makes people feel uncomfortable, they can exit my life. Yeah, there was definitely that point. I felt like there's so much about me that, to talk about. And so I felt like I had to just kind of wait for at least like I said, the fourth time, or after the fourth time we had talked. And so I got a vibe that she'd be cool with everything. Let's see who else is in the chat saying stuff. Brain bug. And all right. So for people who don't know this, there's this QAnon theory that Donald J. Trump would be re-inaugurated or inaugurated as the 19th president of the United States, because the United States was in this crazy QAnon theory. President Trump would be re-inaugurated today as, I think, the 19th president of the United States, because in 1871 goes the tinfoil hat wearing conspiracy theory. And yes, the theory itself has a tinfoil hat. I don't know if you're aware of that. That the U.S. is a corporation as voted on in 1871. So there's actually all those other presidents between number 18 and now have been illegal or inappropriate. And so Donald J. Trump would be re-inaugurated today as the 19th president of the United States of America. Just another big bag of crazy stuff from QAnon. It is nuts. That's what it is. Blazing. Is Blazing here? I didn't see Blazing. So yeah, this is supposedly Trump's re-inauguration day. The Congress cut they were going to work today, the Senate, the House, but they decided that because danger or potential danger from let's face it, terrorists, white terrorists, Trump supporters, that militias, that they decided to get all the work done and then leave the Capitol, or at least not go into work today. I guess you got a day off because of insanity. You got a day off because of the wackiness that is, the dangerous, the toxicity of Trumpism right there. Hey, Blazing, good to see you. Time for reading work emails. There should be a special time for that every day. Right, just reading work emails. So yeah, so that's, if you're not up on whether or not about this re-inauguration day of Donald J. Trump, it was supposed to be March 4th. There are rumors, of course, that it's really somewhere later on. But all of you who are watching this are intelligent people. You know that once a conspiracy theory doesn't occur, people will just kick it down the road. So it isn't March 4th. The end of the world really isn't on April 19th, 1998. It's going to happen on this other date sometime in the future. And then when that doesn't happen, it just gets kicked down the road again. All right, so let's do some funny stuff. You guys want to do some funny stuff? We'll do some funny stuff. So like I said, my sister was pretty cool about the whole, even took a look at the blog and everything. So there's hardly any more secrets to tell, at least. I mean, we all, when you get to a certain age, everyone has a few secrets, but there's like the getting to know you kind of information. So I think we've gotten through most of the getting to know you information, at least from my side. And I feel pretty happy about that. Funny things. Let's talk about funny. I saw a funny video, and this is under certain circumstances, profanity provides a relief denied even to prayer. That sounds like Mark Twain, Samuel Clemens. I don't know if it really is. I didn't check up on the quote, but it does sound like what Clemens would say. I don't know if anyone has a favorite quote from Clemens. But later on in life, Clemens is probably my favorite Clemens because he just got bitter. And he was actually a stand-up comedian, by the way. When he went on his world tour, his speaking tour to get himself out of poverty, classic comedian move. Oh my God, I've gotten to an age in my life where I pissed away all of my money and now I have to go on tour. so that I can put some pennies in my pocket so I don't die a pauper. Totally Mark Twain, total comedian. Yeah, he went on a tour to basically promote his writings, and so he wouldn't die in poverty. Bad investments, my friend. That's the downfall of Samuel L. Clemens and his financial situation. Oh, wow. Well, this is interesting. Blazing says, in Scandinavian news, a meteor that flew over Denmark in November last year has been found in Sweden. Remarkable 14 kilograms. It's a big lump. Indeed. Indeed. All right. So what's the next? Feeling like Sam. That's right. Here's the next one. It's more cat related. It's more cat related. Let me see if I can get this thing here out of the thing, and maybe there and there. And now, see, it's a very slow morning for me. Whoa, knock over the mug, not the coffee pot. You're a lovable jerk, Dave, not a barbarian cat in training. Yeah, cat, knock off the mug. If you gotta knock off anything, knock the mug off the counter. Not the whole pot. We are going to be talking a little bit about Texas, of course, because we have to talk about Texas. But this last meme, this last picture has something, touches on Texas. Don't mess with Texas unless you're COVID. Then by all means, mess us the F up. All right. Chat, what are we going to talk about first today? I got two options. We can talk about marijuana, or we can talk about Texas and Beto O'Rourke. So what are we going to do? We're going to talk about marijuana or Texas? You cannot not talk. All right, we're talking about Texas then. All right, Beto O'Rourke, drop some wisdom, drop some knowledge down, because we all know that Texas, Governor Greg Abbott decided to. And don't worry, we're going to talk about marijuana after Texas. Greg Abbott's like, we don't need no masks here in Texas. We got everything under control. We don't need a mask mandate. And we all know that Texas has been in the crapper lately, right? With the winter storm, the electrical grid crapping out, employers attacking employees because they can't work due to burst water pipes and having no electricity and having no heat. We've all covered that in previous episodes. And here's Beto O'Rourke with Lawrence McDonald. And Beto is dropping some wisdom down on us. And I'm going to show you a clip. I'm going to show you a clip. Dun, 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 dun.
Politics of Governor Abbott's calculation today. And what I'm wondering is, did he see himself as a governor in trouble because of the stories that have emerged that you've told about a Vietnam veteran dying in his truck because that's where he went to try to get heat, that what the power failure that he was very much a part of designing, that has him in a tough situation in Texas. And so he reached for a Republican kind of popularity move of saying, throw away your masks. And that's part of a way of trying to restore kind of an appeal to that side of the politics of Texas.
Yeah, this is kind of like a wag the dog moment where you seek to distract attention. In the case of that movie, it was to go to war in another country. In the case of Texas, it is to go to war on your own people and to, with all certainty, because the science says so, to guarantee the deaths of those who otherwise would have been spared if we just followed the public health advice. These masks are the best thing short of a vaccine in a state where only 6.5% of us are vaccinated to save our lives and the lives of others in our lives. So you never know a man's motive. Only Greg Abbott knows, but it sure looks politically convenient to drop this news in the wake of his man-made disaster. And Lawrence, we haven't heard all the stories yet, and I urge you and other journalists to follow the money. When you look at what was paid into the Greg Abbott campaign war chest, and not small checks, $200,000 checks from Encore, 7-figure checks, of which there's no campaign finance limit in Texas, written by the energy companies. And then look at this. The price for a megawatt hour of electricity in that disaster went from $36, which is the average, to $9,000. Jerry Jones's company described making out like bandits. They hit the jackpot in this one. So I think there's a lot of corruption involved. We need to follow the money, follow the facts. Let us not stop on this story for the benefit of the people of Texas and for the accountability and justice that we deserve.
So there you go. There's some insight from Beto O'Rourke. And I hadn't thought about it, and I should have, right? Because those of us, we've all survived the Trump era, where the only thing Trump did was distraction, distraction, distraction. And that seems to be part of the calculations that Governor Greg Abbott used to get rid of this mask mandate, right? People are angry at him for being incompetent, for mismanaging this entire climate crisis, the electrical grid crisis, the infrastructure crisis, the workers' rights crisis in Texas. And so, going to throw the base a bit of red meat. Going to throw the base, his political base, a bit of red meat. And just, we don't need any masks. We can get rid of those mask restrictions. And I think Beto, pretty much spot on with that. Spot on. That is, brain bug, I go to myself, I say to myself a lot. It's like, politician, and Beto is really good. I mean, from what I've seen of him, not in the debates, mind you, but he can be really good in the pocket. He can be really good just talking off the cuff. But that wag the dog reference, I would not have used that. I would have gone back to Trumpism. I would have gone back to Trump's proclivity for just lying and distracting people, as against to going for wag the dog. All right, so here we go. Simply secular. Why is the GOP trying to maximize the deaths of the majority of their most gullible voters? Am I missing something here? I think, and this is just my own personal theory, I think I'm right, is that the GOP, within the party, within the culture, there's an incentive for people to act like dicks to each other, at least to create situations where people are miserable. Because when people are miserable, they're more religious, they turn to their oligarchs for protection, and Republicans are also anti-government, right? Because you cannot have a strong central government. You cannot have a strong government. What you are looking for is people putting faith in churches and in oligarchs. And so I think there's a certain incentive in the Republican Party, and it has been for quite a long time, to downplay the role of government, to knock government, to destroy the good, whatever good the government can do, to destroy it. Hey, James Henry, glad to see you can make it. So yeah, maybe it does imaginary. It certainly doesn't help. It certainly doesn't help in this case, at least here in the States, All right. So that's so we just talked about Texas. Now we're going to talk about marijuana, and good news coming out of Mexico and Israel. This is from the Big L Libertarian periodical known as Reason. I hadn't seen the story anywhere else, and so I thought, let's take a look. Mexico and Israel slowly race to legalize pot. Uruguay legalized recreational marijuana in 2013, followed by Canada 5 years later. 2 more countries will soon join their ranks. Woohoo! Mexico and Israel are racing to become the 3rd country where marijuana is legal for recreational use at the national level. Racing may be too strong a word, because both governments are moving more slowly than originally advertised. But both are officially committed to joining Uruguay and Canada on the short list of countries that allow adults to consume cannabis without medical justification. In 2018, the Supreme Court of Mexico ruled that pot prohibition was unconstitutional because it violated the fundamental right to the free development of the personality. Interesting reasoning. Although the court originally required the Mexican Congress to legalize cannabis within 90 days, it has repeatedly extended the deadline because of the legislature's difficulties on settling on a detailed plan. Around the same time, the Mexican Senate passed the bill. The Israeli government, based on recommendations from a committee appointed by Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, announced a plan to let adults 21 or older buy and consume cannabis. Public consumption, home cultivation, advertising, and the sale of edibles, brownies, that resemble candy would be prohibited. Boo. The plan says the government would ensure the prices are reasonable to displace the black market. Let's just pause for a minute and talk about how legalization would undermine the illegal market, the black market. It would be wonderful, wouldn't it? Because when you prohibit something that everybody wants, or a vast majority of people want, we're talking about incentives. You just incentivize bad behavior. You incentivize gangsterism in all of its forms. Look at the 1920s, the 1930s in the United States of America with Prohibition. That was the high point of gangsterism in this country. You look at the drug war during the 80s and the 90s. All that money just goes to fund illegal, like seriously illegal enterprises. Back to the story. Legalization was backed by both parties of Israel's coalition government, Netanyahu's Likud bloc, and the Minister of Defense Benny Gantz's Blue and White Alliance. Legislation was supposed to be introduced in the Knesset, Israel's parliament, in November and take 9 months after passage. And just a review on countries that have legalized recreational marijuana. Uruguay legalized recreational marijuana in 2013, followed by Canada 5 years later. In the US, cannabis has been legalized for recreational use in 15 states and DC, but is still banned by federal law. Thank my fictitious God, I live in a state that has legalized recreational marijuana. There's actually a dispensary right down the street, and surprisingly, the whole neighborhood hasn't gone to crap. All right. Gracious morning to you all. Dr. Mordecai, glad to see you. Glad to see you. Oh, that's easy to believe. Yeah. In Denmark, the black market for weed alone is $100 million a year. Yeah. I don't think my girlfriend's in the chat, but she's from Colorado, and they were one of the first states to legalize marijuana. And I know that they've gotten a lot of money from taxes due to marijuana, and it's helped them out quite a bit. I don't know what the number one, I don't know what the amount of money Massachusetts has gathered or has garnered due to legalization of marijuana. Our rollout has been sloppy and slow, unfortunately. Prices here are out of control. Black market is still going strong. Yeah. James Henry, here in Holland, the reason why we tolerate weed is because drug dealers sell weed too, but they prefer their clients to use hard drugs. Yeah. Right. Of course, it's more profitable that way. Oh, that's interesting. You can enjoy an alcoholic beverage in the public spaces here now. We don't have open container laws anymore. I really like it here. I remember putting rum into Coke, into Coca-Cola, into those 2-liter bottles. And 2-liter bottles? That sounds like it had a problem, Andy. I only did it a few times, and enjoying some time outside with my rum and Cokes. Yeah, dude, that's just crazy, right? I mean, it's irrational. And it's part of the industrial prison complex here in the States, at least. Oh, there's a big drug war down there. And the idea that you could, and yes, once again, I'm saying idea with an R. You forgot about me. How could that happen? How could that happen, right? And weed does. Yeah. Weed makes life bearable for a lot of people. That's what it is. Get on the cannabis bus. That's what Mexico and Israel are doing. Good news. Good news. All right. So what else do we have? What time is it? Is it too early for the? So I'm going to do the halftime show. It's a very quick show today. It's a very quick little laugh. But it's a simple joke. I'm not going to belabor it. I'm not going to talk about the joke. Well, you know, that the joke is like this long and I'm talking about it. Shut up, Andy. Just do the joke. All right, let's.
One time I was on a date with a woman in college when she told me that I look like a Greek philosopher named Anxieties.
Anxieties. Well, she sounds like a keeper. She sounds like a keeper. Right? It's good stuff. Good stuff. Oh, you got crap weather? Well, I imagine the crap weather would get in the way of sailing, Phil Lister, you know? All right, so that was our little diversion there for the Half Point show. Let's see, what's the next story we're talking about? Brazil. Oh, Brazil and COVID. Nightmare juice. Would you like some juice for your nightmares? Here it is. From the Times, Brazil's COVID crisis is a warning to the whole world, scientists say. Have you heard? I think I mentioned it yesterday during our Jenga show, at 3 o'clock about the strain, the new strain of COVID that reinfects people, even if you've had COVID, and you have the antibodies for COVID, this new strain will still F you up. Yeah, this is the story. COVID-19 has already left a trail of death and despair in Brazil, one of the worst in the world. Now, a year into the pandemic, the country is setting another wrenching record. No other nation has experienced such a major outbreak, is still grappling with record-setting death tolls and a healthcare system on the brink of collapse. Many other hard-hit nations are instead taking tentative steps towards a semblance of normalcy, but Brazil is battling a more contagious variant that has trampled one major city and is spreading to others, even as Brazilians toss away precautionary measures that keep them safe. Oh my, how are they taking lessons from Texas and Mississippi? Because that's not where you should be taking lessons from, Brazil. Preliminary studies suggest the variant that has swept through the city of, I'm going to mispronounce this, someone please correct me, Manaus, is not only more contagious, but it appears able to infect some people who have already recovered from other versions of the virus. And the variant has slipped Brazil's borders, showing up in 24 other countries and in small numbers in the US. Although trials of a number of vaccines indicate they can protect against severe illness, even when they do not prevent infection from the variant, most of the world has not been inoculated. That means even people who had recovered and thought they were safe for now might still be at risk, and that world leaders might once again be lifting restrictions too soon. So you could have, let's call it classic COVID, regular everyday strain of COVID, traditional COVID. And you would have the antibodies, so you'd feel pretty saucy. You might feel a little cheeky, thinking to yourself, "Oh, well, I can't get it for at least 3 months. For as long as I have antibodies against COVID, I guess I'm safe." No, that does not work against the strain in Brazil. For some people, the situation is evolving. There's a play on words too, everyone. Let's go and continue the story. Let's see. It's the city Manaus was capital in northern state of Amazonas, was hit so hard in April and May that scientists wondered if the city might have reached herd immunity. That's a lot of people being infected. But then in September, cases in the state began rising again, perplexing health officials. An attempt by Amazonas Governor Wilson Lima to impose a new quarantine ahead of Christmas holiday was met with fierce resistance by business owners and prominent politicians close to President Jair Bolsonaro. And the chat's probably lighting up with people who know much more about Bolsonaro than I am, but allow me to continue chat. By January, scientists have discovered that a new variant, which became known as P1, had become dominant in the state. Within weeks, its danger became clear as hospitals in the city ran out of oxygen amidst a crush of patients, leading scores to suffocate to death. But many Brazilians have little faith in a government led by a president who have sabotaged lockdowns, repeatedly downplayed the threat of the virus, and promoted untested remedies long after scientists said they clearly do not work. Just last week, the president spoke dismissively of masks, which are among the best defenses to curb contagion, claiming that they're harmful to children, causing headaches and difficulty concentrating. Thank you, Bolsonaro, for not helping. maybe you and Greg Abbott from Texas can form an alliance of idiocy, or Neanderthals, an alliance of Neanderthals, as President Joe Biden would say. And once again, I just want to talk about the speech writers, politicians, especially Democrats, needing better speech writers. If you're going to roast someone, if you're going to burn someone, then you got to have a good burn. And even though Donald J. Trump, he said stupid word salad, the roasts that he did, the burns that he did resonate with his idiot crowd. I'm just saying that they just need maybe someone like me to write their material, or at least to write some roasting, some jokes, right? All right. Well, James Henry, that just might be the new norm, right? We're just wearing masks. Let's see. Bolsonaro is the traditional coming of age celebration for Brazilian. I see what you did there. Very nice. Well, Tobin says, I think it'll be true that viruses will always be here. Once we feel safe from one, there'll be another one. Yeah, like Bill Gates said, like years ago, as he said several times, is that we've gotten lucky up until now here in the United States of America. Other places in the world have had killer viruses that spread quickly. And the United States of America has been lucky, and we haven't been in until this one. And James Henry, there you go. There you go. Yeah. That is true. They do work, from what I understand, Digital Bookworm, from what I understand, is that the vaccine will work on this new strain in Brazil, but the information is still out. The thing is, if you're hoping for herd immunity from people catching the virus, that won't work with this new variant from Brazil. Well, this is interesting. In Canada, the 2020 flu season hasn't started because everyone was wearing masks, washing hand sanitizing. Yeah, that's good. That's excellent. COVID classic. Do you ever feel like you're making your way through life and you look down for a second and the check reality light is on? Many times. Simply Secular. Many times. Many times. Yeah, so that's what's going on in Brazil. John Hudson, what a crazy story that is. When I lived in Utah, I was arrested for an open container in my front yard. Is that drinking while? I think you were just being busted for not being a Mormon, John Hudson, and publicly identifying as not a Mormon in public in Utah. I might be wrong with that. I might be wrong. All right. Okay, so let's go. Yeah, the herd immunity thing's not working. All right, so oh, this guy. All right, I feel like whenever I'm about to hit a bad news story, I do this, and I have to stop doing this. I should stop doing this, but this is from the Friendly Atheist. Links are all below in the description, everyone. COVID denying pastor. Our nation is being run by a bunch of wussies. Oh, there's video to this too. I'm going to show you the video in like a second or two. Let's do some reading, and then I'll show you the crazy video, because it's everything that you would expect out of this craziness. During a recent men-only warrior night. See, now here you go. The worst aspects, I think, of the male psychology comes out in large stadiums for warrior night, titled warrior night, run by evangelicals. I think that the forebrain just shuts off, and the reptilian brain, the amygdala, the little aggression center there, it just lights up like a crazy flashing light, like a strobe light. That's what happens in these places. And of course, it's in Texas. Of course, where would it be but in Texas? Pastor Keith Kraft mocked the idea of wearing masks and told the Christian crowd the country was being run by wussies, whose crime, I guess, is taking scientists seriously. Of course, low energy, flaccid scientist fans there. Okay, let's do the video. And I have not undersold this, everyone. I have not undersold how crazy this is. Now I have to find it. Here it is.
Yeah, in fact, we're encouraging you to double up. I said, that is not going to happen. It says you're going to have to wear this kind of mask. Now it's this kind of mask. What? We live in such a fear and mongering, control and manipulation society that some of y'all have drank it like Kool-Aid. And I'm just here to tell you, we are the sons of God in the earth. And guess what? We're not afraid. We're not afraid. Hey, listen, let me go on record and say it. I had COVID. If I had died, then I died of COVID. I'm not afraid of it. I'm not afraid of a heart attack. I'm not afraid when it's my time to go. We can't cower. We can't play. We can't play small. We can't hide. We gotta live. We're the sons of God in the earth. That's who you are. And our country's being run by a bunch of pussies. That's the only way I can say it. So record that and send that.
Done. There's so much to unpack there. There's so much to unpack there. And if you're just tuning in, this is the Disappointed Cat Morning Show. This is crazy. There is just, yeah, right, James Henry? Just wow. Wow. That was just crazy. You know, I'm going to play it again. I'm just going to play it one more time because I just want to take it all in.
Yeah, in fact, we're encouraging you to double up. I said, that is not going to happen. It says you're going to have to wear this kind of mask. Now it's this kind of mask. What? We live in such a fear and mongering, control and manipulation society that some of y'all have drank it like Kool-Aid. And I'm just here to tell you, we are the sons of God in the earth. And guess what? We're not afraid. We're not afraid. Hey, listen, let me go on record and say it. I had COVID. If I had died, then I died of COVID. I'm not afraid of it. I'm not afraid of a heart attack. I'm not afraid when it's my time to go. We can't cower. We can't play. We can't play small. We can't hide. We gotta live. We're the sons of God in the earth. That's who you are. And our country's being run by a bunch of pussies. That's the only way I can say it. So record that and send that.
All right. Just a few notes here that I just made. You know, I've seen the video a couple of times before I showed it to you all. He's upset. He's upset that the scientists have changed their recommendation about masks. He's calling Christian men sons of God in the earth. They're like mole people. I guess they're just like mole men, sons of God in the earth. And I don't know if any of you have noticed the image in the background where he was walking on the podium. It says fifth dimensional leadership. Fifth dimensional leadership. I don't think he's mastered any of the other dimensions. I don't think he could really lay claim to fifth dimensional leadership. And there's something about that person claiming that those of us who respect science and understand the scientific method are controlled by fear, control, and manipulation. When evangelicals actually live in fear of eternal damnation, who are controlled by misinformation, and who are manipulated by people dressed up like professional wrestlers on stages screaming word salad. Oh, all right, chat. Let's see what you have to say. I don't know if it's the dumbest place on earth, but it's got to be It's got to be something. It's got to be ranking. It's got to be ranking. Let's see. Oh, that's exactly what I am, Gary. That's exactly low, flaccid energy here. He's a Texas warrior. That's right. Well, that would be nice, Gary Priestley. That'd be nice to play it back to him, right? And what's up with his outfit, imaginary God? We got to find out dirt about this guy at some point, right? He's either going to be a kid diddler, or he's going to have financial. He's probably already. Well, we already know he's fleecing all those people in the crowd, right? Getting as much money as he can out of them. Well, James Henry here, we have in Texas, there's the 10-gallon hat and the 2-pound brain. We all know that the regular brain is about 3.3 pounds. And in Texas, I think it's the 10-gallon hat and the 2-pound brain. I think that would be really funny, Brain Bug, to tell you the truth. And it would not be difficult to do. It would not be difficult to do. Yeah, the sword, right? The sword, it blew your eardrums. Did Pat Benatar realize her wardrobe was stolen by that guy? Yeah. Indeed. All right. Let's go finish up what Hammett was writing about this. And once again, you can see the whole story. There's links in the description. Those are the words of a man who doesn't understand science, but thinks mocking scientists with the word pussies, no less, is the height of confident Christianity. He doesn't care that more than 513 Americans have died from COVID, many of them because they've interacted with conservatives like him who refuse to take sensible precautions against spreading the disease. He thinks that being macho and wearing whatever the hell that getup is supposed to be grants Christians immunity from the virus. If this is your idea of Christian manhood, you are pathetic. Well written, Hemet Meta of the Friendly Atheist. Well said. All right. Oh, yeah, someone should send that to Aaron. That's right, indeed. So what else? You may not, I'm pivoting here. I think that, I'm going to share with you another video. This is from MSNBC about the hearings and about exactly why. The name of this piece is "Why was the National Guard slow to respond to the Capitol riot?" I think we all know, or we all have suspicions why there's such a slow response time. But here's a panel that is going to explain their thoughts on the topic. Here we go. Is this going to work? Am I hitting the right buttons, everyone? I think I'm hitting the right buttons.
Why do you reckon there was a delay of 3 hours and 19 minutes to get our ready guard and reserve up to the Hill? Why do you reckon the Secretary of the Army was unavailable that day when called?
Well, first of all, the shameful failure of security in an obviously threatening situation. And it's astonishing to me that the Guard wasn't called up days prior. Eventually we ended up with 25,000 Guardsmen in Washington coming as far away as Hawaii. This is the most competent, disciplined National Guard in the country's history. They should have been on site in significant numbers much prior to the day of the Trump-inspired and summoned mob that sacked the Capitol. I think we're also watching the normal circular firing squad in Washington evading responsibility. Primary responsibility is congressional leadership, Capitol Police, and DC Police. They also didn't approach us with the urgency that the situation demanded. Now, at the end of the day, the Secretary of the Army, by law, is the political figure who's in charge of dealing with domestic insurrections. Why he didn't respond with alacrity, those two generals were staffers. The Secretary of the Army, the Chief Staff of the Army, were the people that should have been monitoring this. So it's a mess. They need to call in Secretary McCarthy in particular and find out what was going on. I think they didn't want to annoy Trump, and they didn't want to recreate a Lafayette Square. That's my take on it.
It was a mess, Peter Baker, and a 3-hour, 19-minute wait for the guard just seemed endless that day in real time. The president was fond of talking up use of the guard throughout last summer. Here now a sampling we'll discuss on the other side.
Today I have strongly recommended to every governor to deploy the National Guard. In Minneapolis, they went through 3 nights of hell, and that I was insistent on having the National Guard go in and do their work, sent in representatives, commonly known as the National Guard. Look, I stopped it in Minneapolis, real fast. We insisted on the National Guard. It was brutal. Call me, we'll be ready for them so fast, their heads will spin. It's called dominate the streets. When rioting and looting broke out in our nation's capital, I very quickly deployed the National Guard. I said, get them in. I came in, I deployed the National Guard very quickly.
Well, you heard the man. He wanted them on the streets of cities like his preferred pronunciation of Minneapolis. This is an open net layup shot for you, Peter Baker. What do you reckon changed between last summer and this incident we're talking about today?
Well, of course, the people in the streets last summer were protesting against policies and an approach that the president favored, and the people who were protesting on January 6th and then took it beyond protesting were his supporters. And we've seen this with President Trump, former President Trump, repeatedly. If people are on his side, he is loath to denounce them. He is loath to speak out against them, no matter how radical, no matter how extremist they are. This is how he's gotten in trouble repeatedly with his comments that seem to embrace or at least fail to fully renounce white supremacists and neo-Nazi groups in the past. You know, he was asked about QAnon repeatedly while he was president. He said, well, I don't know much about them except that they like me, as if that was all that really mattered. And, you know, obviously he decided that the Guard was an important statement politically last summer against African-American protesters and others who were protesting racist by the authorities, whereas he didn't see that need on January 6th. Now, interesting comments just this week, by the way, by General Milley, who's chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Didn't get a lot of notice. But he told reporters traveling with him this week that when the president claimed at CPAC over the weekend that he had told the military to have 10,000 troops on guard at the National Mall in case something went wrong on January 6th, General Milley said no, he never heard anything like that. He never heard any order like that. He never heard any directive like that from the president. He basically disputed the former president's assertion that he, in fact, had taken this that seriously. And that's notable in particular because General Milley, of course, was actually appointed by President Trump in the first place.
All right. So, yeah, I was thinking about this as I was watching that video. You know, Alaric led the Visigoths and they sacked Rome in 410 AD. And it was the first time Rome had been sacked. Well, the last time Rome had been sacked had been 800 years previous to that by the Goths. And you have to think to yourself, were the Roman senators who were just, to tell you the truth, the sack of Rome in 410 led to a lot of discussion between pagans and Christians, a lot of infighting, right? A lot of infighting. So this kind of, the idea that people are internally fighting, politicians are internally fighting about what happened during January 6th. There's historical precedent for that kind of stuff, unfortunately. But yeah, you know, there's no way he would, and Gary Priestley is spot on. There's no way Trump would have eagerly deployed troops to prevent his own supporters, right? I mean, and that's why. And yes. You know, and that's the point, right? Any kind of would-be despot, anyone who is chief executive, they want to put their people in positions of power. Am I going to talk about Stalin and the purges? Sure, I'm going to talk about Stalin and the purges. You know, Stalin inherited, an infrastructure, a communist infrastructure, a Bolshevik infrastructure, but it wasn't, people were not loyal to him personally. And that's why he just purged, you know, and that's what Trump, and this is the real danger. If Trump had gotten a second term, is that he would have gotten even more of his people in, and we would have seen more of this kind of insanity, this kind of escalation, this kind of schlepping towards authoritarianism. Oh, wow. All right. All right. What have we covered today? We've covered Mexico and Israel heading towards legalization of marijuana. Brazil, that Brazilian strain of COVID, scary stuff. And the evangelical COVID minister leading his testosterone poisoned gaggle of fools in Texas. Of course it's in Texas. It's always in Texas. And whether or not Greg Abbott, the governor of Texas, is actually just getting rid of the mask mandate just as a distraction because he completely screwed up the winter storm. All right. As always, I try to leave you all with a smile on your face, with something happy to think about. And we're going to go with this before we wrap it all up, before we wrap this all up.
We're excited to do business with you, but before we sign, I gotta ask.
Sure, anything.
We searched you online, and maybe you can explain this?
Can't believe that garbage is still coming in. That is so false.
Frustrated with your online search results? Call Reputation Defender today.
That was a really short 19-second bit I did the other day. That was actually the video I was trying to work on just before yesterday's show at 9 o'clock. And, you know, that's a clip. That's a short. They're somewhat popular on YouTube. If you could head over to that particular video and upload it, say something nice about it, maybe. I thought it was something appropriate for our friend Andrew Cuomo, who is in a lot of trouble, appropriately, by the looks of it. All right. So that's it for the show, everyone. Night all, Gary Priestley. I hope you have a good rest of the day. Of course, I'm doing Jenga here at 3 o'clock. I want to talk to you about the Sunday 10:30 show. A friend of mine online, Thomas McDonald, he's had some of his work. He's an animator. He's hilarious. His comedy is the same as our sensibilities here. From if you're here on this show and have tolerated the show for more than 5 minutes, then that means we have a similar comedic sensibility, I believe. And Thomas, he's had some of his material on Adult Swim. He has a great YouTube channel. And Jack Maturko and I, we're just going to do and go through his playlist of hilarious, off-the-wall, bizarro, short animation bits. And we're doing that on Sunday night at 10:30 this Sunday. It's going to be a lot of fun. And if you like off-the-wall comedy, if you like animation, and of course, in between the bits, we're going to talk, we're going to laugh, we're going to have a good time. And so it's going to be a nice, lighthearted trip into the bizarre, everyone, this Sunday at 10:30. And if you don't catch it at 10:30, of course, you can catch it at some other time. Otherwise, be strong. And I'm doing Jenga today at 3 p.m. You want to stop by, you can stop by. Please contribute. My mom will not let me watch Adult Swim. Well, it is adulty. So, if you want to support the channel, that would be great. I would support it. There's links in the description, blah, blah, blah. One of my goals for today, I'm going to be working on the membership thing, in case you want to contribute to. It'll be easy. It'll be easy for you to contribute through YouTube. So, yeah, that's me, everyone. Be strong, be safe, and do I have my glasses? I need a prop. All right, another epic ending here. I'm gonna do the Will Shatner in Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan, having to put on his reading. No, actually, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to talk about the Newport conspiracy, about General George Washington, about how he diffused the entire conspiracy to overthrow the government of the United States by putting on his glasses to read some prepared notes General George Washington being popular amongst the officers, amongst the soldiers. If you know anything about the Newport conspiracy, he put on his eyeglasses, and he said, "Gentlemen, you must forgive me. I have become blind in service of liberty." All right, there we go, everyone. Have a good one. Take care.